All right, it's okay. No clarification, no questions. So let me continue. So, what I try to explain here, the cost outline and the market system, it's all related to demand. We learn, and then we will study why the market system fail, and the market failure things also we learn, and the intervention the government to the market system, we learn that the reason for market failure, then we learn the government failure also. So, and also the microeconomics, we have to understand a little difference between the microeconomics and macroeconomics. Clearly focus the policies and introduce as a policymakers to clear policies. So that also I will little bit touch today and will continue lecture. And also the microeconomics, we understand, we learn three level. One is the individual optimization, like you and me, as a consumer, as a producer, how, why try to get the optimal result, optimal satisfaction in terms of consumer satisfaction in terms of producer satisfaction, like profit maximization. Individual. When you work individual, there is certain principle we have to think. Those also we learn. And that is the first thing what we have understand, individual optimization. There are two parts as a producer and the consumer we will learn. And the producer, the consumer side, the consumer optimization and the consumer. And the producer side, the profit maximization and individual life. Second level, in the microeconomics, we will learn this individual how work at single market. Single market. For example, let's say the bread market or rice market. How this market system work through demand and supply. The individual coming. That is when you come to the market, demand is not individual, all here the single market, but so many consumers. So that the demand curve derived from the individual behavior also we will learn, but this is single market optimal result. How to derive, how to get the single market. When you mention here only single market, one market, n number of consumers, or sometimes the one n number of producers, or sometimes we'll take single producer case also, but the single market thing we have to how to get the optimal, what we call partial equilibrium analysis. Third level we study in the microeconomics how this all the market work in the society, entire market, bread market, rice market, and the whole market together as a society level equilibrium. That closer to the macroeconomic concept. But that link we made through the microeconomics understanding. Now you can see the first we study the individual, second single market, and the third level, the multi-market, in the terms what we can use, and how the society level get the equilibrium level. There are n number of market, n number of consumers, all together get it. That society level equilibrium. That's what we call general equilibrium. Now, second level we learn partial equilibrium. Third level what we learn called general equilibrium. All of them we will learn this semester. Now, let me. These are the textbook. Basically, you can go through and you can look at. And I'm not going to take only one single textbook. And also most of the lecture note, lecture material is combination or maybe my own thing. But if someone interested, you can uh, take this and you can read this. The man cue is simple to understand principle of microeconomics. You can take it and you can read it. The very simple uh, way you can understand with the example and everything. No much mathematic equation jargons and things also. And the second one is I have written with some others, Dr. Ravindra Kumaran, and thing that is related to only production theory. So you can get it from the library department. Yeah, no other outside. And Halvarians, if you have want a little bit mathematic oriented understanding, the Halvarians have the basic one also, but you have to go through intermediate microeconomics. There is another book, Advanced Microeconomics. Those two books also, if someone interested, someone good in mathematics, you can read that. And also I used the Nicholson, that the microeconomics theory, they are good thing. All the three ways explain thing. Descriptive graphs and also symbol using mathematic oriented way, mathematical approach. But unfortunately, I don't recommend here. I don't use the game theoristic approach. That was also was popular in 1970. But I use some game theory here, but teaching every concept using the game theoristic approach, I don't use. I use mainly toward the mathematics oriented approach, not the descriptive and the group graphs also try to bring you the mathematic oriented. That's what I suggest you Halvarians, intermediate and advanced also. So those are the, you don't need to buy if you come to classes, if you listen, that's enough. Now, let me today the finish and discussion with the understanding of the difference between the microeconomics and macroeconomics. Before that, next week, you observe, like I already asked you, uh, traffic behavior, using this behavior, uh, try to understand this microeconomics concept, what I teach you, people reach to economic nirvana level or Pareto optimal level, why the people again the drop down to the second level. So then the government role little bit 5 minute kind of a presentation, get ready, and same time set a group and the group discussion and take a, you can use the AI and things. I need to understand the practically how you understand this the economics, market behavior and the market failure. Taking example from your day to day when you travel on the road and the traffic congestion. And they are trying to understand better than government, maybe whether we can go for another institution, like, for example, with the new technology in the traffic system, the policeman is the government like that. But now we have advanced system, advanced technology, setting cameras and automatically uh, control, automatically solve the traffic issues, especially country like China and those countries. Sri Lanka also we have traffic light, and whether this system with the technology is better than the policeman, you can see same maybe better than the government kind of a system as an institution, whether we can form a system like that. That understanding I need when you make the presentation. That is open, but I just want to understand. I want to see whether you understand the overall picture, what I try to discuss here. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. Now, here, to differentiate the micro and macroeconomics, I take one of the popular concept in the economics, circular diagram. So there we know all in the economic, we have two institutions. One is what we call household. One is what we call household. Next week also I will explain this one again. Household is the one you and me, the one has all the resources. Basically, if you look at the land, capital, labor, human resources, entrepreneurs, and all the other materials, all the resources belong to household. That is the beauty, that is the strength of household. And the economy, we have another institution called firms. Firms. Now, without firms, household can't consume anything. But the firms, they don't have anything. All the resources belong to household. What do firms? They buy those resources from household. They buy those resources from household. If you look at historically, not buy, they just to take and transfer. But now we can use the terms buy. Basically, land, labor, entrepreneurship, and everything goes to firms, but not a free of charge. For that, they return and they pay money. That's what we call wage. And basically, in terms of household, context of household, that's what we call income. Wages, capital, interest rate, profit, and this way they return. Using those resources, firms produce. How they earn money, whatever they produce, they sell to household. To buy, household has money because they earn. Using this money, household buy from firms. So that is what we call expenditure. This is the goods and services. This is a expenditure. Now you can see, imagine not a year, not a week, not a month, one day. In the entire society, let's say very simple economy, yeah, the society has 10 people. 10 people. Now the house, 10 household. 10 household. But this 10 household, let's say the per day, work hard and earn $5 billion. $5 billion. Which means give the land, give resources, give capital, give labor, human resource, entrepreneurship, and then to the firm. Firm give them $5 billion per day. Now, this 5 billion they use to buy goods and services, value of course again 5 billion. Goods value also 5 billion. Now you can see the system, whatever you earn, you expend, you consume, and you enjoy. You enjoy. Now, if these 10 household feel that they want a better life, earn more and expend more and have a better consumption, they may work hard, earn, let's say, 6 billion. Same thing, this 6 billion also they can earn, they can enjoy, they can show this system. So in that way, earning, work hard and improve the productivity, and we can take the society higher level of satisfaction and welfare. It's an entire society together. And they also, with the society work here, like I mentioned before, 3 level, individual, the market, and the general level. The individual here, 10 household are rational. they try to optimize individual behavior. Each one of them behave like that. Ultimately, like I mentioned before, entire society reach to optimal level. That is what we call Pareto optimal level. No one can go above that one, and no one below. And that is what we call economic nirvana. So this, when the individual behave this system, there's a wonderful magic box there. They make the decision to go into this box. The goods and services as well as the factors also go in another box here, two boxes. That box is what we call market. Here, goods market. Sorry, when I draw goods market, here what we call factor market. Their demand and supply decide what to produce, how to produce, and what price they sell. The factor market also same thing. Ultimately, the individual behave through this market within the system. If you take the individual separately, they don't know how decide the no special power to each individual. That's why the Adam Smith call is decide invisible hand. You and me individually, we don't know. But at the market, you know the price. Forget about this, the government decide price, the market, that happens. So that invisible hand, that's the wonderful, that's what I said, the magic box. Decide what to produce, decide to how to produce, decide how much produce. So you can see this system in that way, it's a very magic, very special. This system, the one I mentioned before, society bring to the top of the ladder, top of the stock here. Economic nirvana, Pareto level, this system. But unfortunately, like I took the example from traffic, took the example from the system, when the rational individual, they try to optimize as a producer, consumer, they don't care the others. Because of that, and also their behavior also depend on their knowledge and experience and information, efficiency, and because some drivers, young drivers may be very efficient and compared to the old driver and some cases lady drivers also. Not all the drivers, lady, they are also crazy sometimes. In that way, they feel that the others front going, so they are going slowly and madly, and they try to overtake, and because of that system collapse. The same thing in the market. Some people efficient, some people think in pattern very good, some people not good, some people get more information, and with this happen, this heterogeneity, not the homogeneity. It create a failure in the system. This also happen like a traffic and people drop into the second one. It's not the end. When the people drop into the second point, we now create another system to address it or to take the society back to the top level. That system, what we call, already I introduced, the government. But I always use in Sri Lankan content, that is the unfortunate situation, because the last 80 years, even right now, rather or more than the system failure or the market failure, we are victims of the government failure. Government failure is worse than the market failure country like Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is the best example in the world. This kind of a government failure create the people, drop people to the underground. Still, the people came from new government, transformed, that this become the worst right now. I don't know why this may be, that may be due to knowledge or experience or their thinking pattern. But what we feel now, the worst, if we look at really, now one of the best indicator to reflect the economy is the dollar. Whatever the reason, external or internal, wrong management, now the dollar failure created so much issue right now. So that failure uh, is what we call part of the market failure also. Now, what I say, this new institution came and take the people and drop and correct the system to run the new institution. When you earn 5 billion per day, now we have to give some money to the government as the name of the tax. Government take from you each and everywhere right now in the Sri Lankan government, even your dead body right now take, even you go to toilet, they take the tax. Government takes earn money that. Now look at say unfortunate situation when you earn 5 billion, now you have to give some money in Sri Lankan case about 2/3 of what you earn right now you have to give to the government because the direct tax plus indirect tax. We have written a books and we have written an article you can read. You can search my names and you can download and you can read. We calculate also how impact to the economy also this paying tax, the negative impact, of course, the always, except Nigeria country like that, all the other countries. And in Sri Lankan case, on average, take the 2/3 of what you earn, like when you earn 5 billion per day, government takes 3 billion from you. So one simple thing here, the people lift up the role of the government. But you say they take more. Now, if you take the indirect direct tax about 36 and indirect tax on average, the value added tax now is at 20, and all the others take average about altogether about 72% we pay those who work. Of course, not to get the assurance on those people. About 72% pay the tax. Here we have to include the in the Sri Lankan case, the inflation also, then it become around 80%. Understand? Though IMF call our tax is still low, we have to include whatever we gave to society, kind of a donation, charities, and those also. It may not happen in developed countries, though they give charities, but in Sri Lankan case, our system, government failure, we monthly and annually give another maybe 10% to whatever different way to make the society better off, even you say the New Year, Danshala, and those kind of things. You can see if you calculate about 90% what you earn to maintain the system, if whatever you earn go out from the system. Now, if you earn 5 billion, you can imagine you don't have right now to your good life, all 5 billion. Give about 2/3 to the government. Now, the government, again, is better, bring at least the Pareto optimal level, then the government should give back to the system different way more than here the one tooth gun. If you go on about let's say 60%, now let's say our tax average 26, more than 22 in our $5 example, $3, $3 billion. More than 3 billion, government should inject the system. If people better off or reach the economic nirvana point again. But now you can calculate, you can see whether the government is doing that. Otherwise, the government create a system worse. That's what we call the government failure. The traffic police also. See whether the traffic police bring the society, bring the traffic system better place or worse case. So that's what I asked you to observe and learn and make the presentation looking at kind of a system. Or maybe another example, from another point, you can get the example also, your presentation, I don't mind. Then I can learn also, but I always look at traffic behavior and this watching. Now, if the government does not bring, for example, say without government society welfare level, not I'm meaning here welfare in the giving the aswasuma and that kind of welfare. Entire society, how do you measure? We have, later on we will learn, the microeconomics we call community indifference curve. The community indifference here equal to the welfare entire society. Without government, let's say the welfare level is W0. If the government, if you bring the social welfare level greater than W0, W1, then what may see the government system work and better off. But check properly, Sri Lankan society, we got the opposite. W1 is less than the W0. W0. And the point is the government does not allow the market system work properly also. That create another issue. That is if the market system properly work, it may better than the with the government. Government creator nowadays you can see that some people say the new government is circular government, only issue circulars and regulation. With that, maybe cost is too much in the not improve the productivity and those kind of. Now, uh, now again back to macro and microeconomics. The microeconomics, what we do, we study each component of the system. What does mean? We separately study individual of the household behavior, individual producers, their behavior, they are together individual, and the market demand and supply individual behavior, and those lines also earning profit and things individual behavior. System, individual component. We learn the microeconomics. So that is the microeconomics, micro parts of the system. That's what we do in the microeconomics. Price here, getting the bread price, and this one. As example, let's say you want to find a girlfriend or boyfriend. Maybe years, month, you look at the her or his individual behavior, individual, let's say how beautiful teeth, how beautiful face, hairs and legs and hand, individual also you look at. So it's a micro component and the component level. That is the microeconomics what we do. And same time when you try to find a girlfriend or to get married, then the overall taken together when you get look at and piece the overall because some balance and overall. So the macroeconomics like that. Macroeconomics, what we do, take the overall system and study what we call macroeconomics. Now, here, for example, instead of partial demand and supply, we call aggregate demand and supply. And instead of price, there we learn inflation. Instead of employment, workers, labor, there we learn employment and unemployment. And there we cut the department census, someone in the department census or central bank, they cut those lines, we measure GDP. That is the macroeconomic. So LIS curve, LM curve, aggregate demand, and those all entire system. So that is now you understand the microeconomics and macro. Now the policies also learning macroeconomics, and this is the last point I'm going to take with you. Yeah, the last point. The policies also, when you learn macroeconomics, there are macroeconomic policies. If the system something wrong, to inject to the system. They are inject to the system, not the particular place, the loose fall or down. Now, for example, if your leg or something is a disease in, especially your leg and this is toe, and the macroeconomics, it doesn't look at that and put to the medicine to the entire body. It's like this, like Ayurveda medicine. But the microeconomics, where the sickness there, the point disease there, look at that particular place and inject the solution, like the Western medicine. The place there, the cut and operate and receive. The Western Ayurveda medicine just give the system uh, through the system it let the correct, but that is maybe risky and is not really the effective. Sometimes it's a system has problem. Now, same thing in the economic policies also. When the macroeconomic policies introduce the system, imagine the system has everywhere loose ball and breaking. Good example, the water line. You have your house and everywhere. If you put, let's say, water here, 100 liters, you have a basket here that almost like the economic system. No leakages here, the 100 liters they reached here. That is exactly like the macroeconomic policy. But here the leakages here, this water line, water leak everywhere. When you put the liters, 100 liters may reach here 10 liters. So that exactly happened our macroeconomic policies because our system itself has about 85% leakages, not linkages, leakages. What are the leakages? What we have? Our informal economic activity is about 62 to 65%. I have calculated, I have done papers and published on. More about 65% of the economic activities are informal. The informal sector, the informal economic activity, they don't answer those macroeconomic, they have their adjustment. For example, when the central bank change the interest rate or print money, inflation increase, they adjust the price. For example, three-wheelers. Petrol increase tomorrow or today, they increase the price. The others, the informal. And the other thing, when you go to like along the road, some boutiques, and they whatever the dollar increase, they increase the price. But your salary doesn't happen. The formal. Now, this informal system, when the government take action, I will tell what are the macroeconomic policies. Government take those macro policies, it doesn't answer. Now, the plus this informal 60%, 65%, Sri Lankan economy about 15, 17% economic activity illegal. Either drugs dealing, commissions, and those money transaction happen about 15% economic activity, illegal economic activity. So this illegal plus informal economic activities are the leakages, which means they don't answer your policy. They don't need to answer. They adjust that one because the government can't control them. Now, there are two types of macroeconomics policies, monetary policy, central bank, and the fiscal policy by financial department, ministry. So when monetary policy, for example, interest rate or printing money is work if no leakages. Because, for example, let's say the central bank governor change the interest rate, reduce or now they address the, let's say, depreciation. And now all the system work properly and the society answer and react. But it not happen. When you react, can only 10% go to the system. You can say, though it is efficient, you got to put water and 100% go, no leakage. This is very efficient. It's not effective. That is the problem with our macro economic policies, central bank monetary policy and fiscal policy, treasury. So though they have expert nowadays, it's a doubt whether they have expert anyway, because the most expert they left the country and even like universities, and because of this again the wrong policy, and whether though they have expert and really they work for also questionable. And but doesn't work because the leakages. The microeconomics policies, for example, let's say, they understand where the leakages happen in the system. They, the microeconomics policy, look at those places and patch it, fix it. For example, let's say the education. They understand, they identify and fix it, but our government try to fix it. That is to make worst case, worst happen. Because that is again the policymakers' misunderstanding and misdraw. And the let's say industrial, SME sector. If correctly understand, but still I know I'm doing SME research a lot, but our policymakers, our policies, it wrongly intervenes. And this is the microeconomics policy. Let's say the health sector. Now, one doctor there, health ministry. And what they do, health related, the micro level issues identify, their leakages identify, they fix them. When they fix and these policies not efficient, that's the problem. It takes time to clearly understand and to fix properly. But they are effective because after fix, no leakages, then so what the policymakers has to look at, we proposed some time back in the World Bank and Treasury with we did the study 2022, social protection. We need a system to merge this work together, micro and macro policies together. When the macro policies answer only using the micro, for example, health ministry. If they identify the issues micro level and fix, then they will put the macro policies, then go efficiently and effectively, they work the system. But unfortunately, in our policymakers, our system, we don't have such an institution. Though government is an institution, but government does not have a system for that. For the monetary and fiscal policy, they have monetary board and together those do work, but the no represent and proper body. But if you look at the Korea, they have an advisory board and get the system. And when the loose ball, the monetary policy doesn't work, and they identify the problem, their education ministry or health ministry or industry, and they fix and help them, and they put the water and water work. But unfortunately, we don't have. Now here, when you learn microeconomics, when you learn macroeconomics, you will understand through theory where the system fails, system leakages. Then the policy level, since you work and experience, you can introduce policies because you know theories, you know understand the system. We have always blame the universities and the practical, even the some of you, universities always teach and they don't have experience. That is also system failure. And they teach theories and it doesn't work in the when you make the policy. That is wrong because if you know the theories, I think that's the person who came from Ministry of Health come to learn the economic. Then they can understand very easily the root causes of the system failure, and since their experience and the policy understanding, they can fix it and help the micro policies and the macro policy. So that is very important. That's the university role to do that. So I'll try to do this way and understand the microeconomics and the system failures, and I try to teach you how policy intervention is done. So this is my job here this semester. With this, I stop. If you have any clarification, any questions, I leave right now 2 minutes. If you don't have, you can leave the meeting and we will see next week. But next week, I need your group presentation 5 minutes to understand with the example, even the traffic behavior or whatever your own related area behavior, link how this to the economics and try to understand better than the government. We can propose a new institution, use the AI completely and do the presentation. Any question, any clarification? Okay. No question, no clarification, then from next week, I start giving you marks. This marks carry the midterm marks. I'll stop this point. Thank you very much. Participation. I maintain attendance also from next week. Okay, have a nice weekend. Rainy weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. You are the one who helped me to do this. Okay, bye.